following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it is time for the media party post-game press conference and Mike McCarthy / Dak Prescott pregame press conference or pregame show here as we get you set for press conferences coming up shortly from McCarthy and Dak Prescott. We got the coordinators later this afternoon, but we're bearing the lead there. The lead story is what did Mickey do at the media party last night?
I had a good time. You know, Nobu in Malibu.
Yeah.
I didn't see you there.
I was not there. Some of us had to work last night.
What do you mean you
I
had
know
to work?
some people can still work
All
and
the
do
TV
that.
stations were there.
Yeah, but they
Come
probably
on.
got their. I think Dale apparently did his live show from outside.
He did,
the place.
outside in the parking
that's
lot,
right.
I think. Because when I saw him leave, I said, and he's talking about Dale Hansen, Channel 8, and I thought that was it. He was going, and then because he was coming back this morning, and then I saw him show up again. I go, I thought you had to do your show. He goes, we did, out in the parking lot. He said technology has changed over the years.
He had certain priorities as he came to his last training camp.
That's
and
right.
That party was number one on his priority list.
Well, and he got a going-away present from the owner.
I heard
Yeah.
that. That went viral on social media last night as
Wrapped
soon as it happened.
and had a bow on it and opened it up, and it was a box of socks and jocks. And they looked dirty, too, by the way.
And Jerry had his personal that he was going to put on his head. But
That's right. It was pretty funny.
So,
No, everybody kind of behaved themselves. I didn't
kinda?
See, I didn't see
Kinda.
anybody jump in the ocean or anything like that.
Everybody made it back safely. Of course, there's a team bus that takes everybody back.
They had a bus for us if you chose to ride it, and we rode it, and got back, and everything went fine. Yeah, it was good. Jerry was in rare form, and Steven and Charlotte and Jerry Jr. So I didn't see any celebs. I heard there was a Sean Penn sighting.
Oh, really?
At Nobu, but that was basically it for me.
Okay. All right. So is that all we need to know about
I think
the
that's
media
it.
party?
Yeah, I think the highlight was the
everything-
present. Yeah.
It's
But Jerry was good. Jerry was.
It's like Vegas, though. Everything that happens at the media party
should stay
stays
there,
at the
right?
media
Not
party.
take
Okay.
notes and come back and report on everybody,
Okay.
right?
All right.
It's a party.
But it is something that Jerry and Steven, for that matter, love every year, right?
Oh, Jerry. I mean, he missed it last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was making up for lost time, and I think he did. Yeah, he seemed to really, really enjoy it, and he stopped when he got there. He stopped everything down and had a toast, and welcomed everybody, and so yeah, it was good.
So you were here when Tex Schramm was running the show.
Yes.
How would you compare the relations with the media that Tex had compared with Jerry?
I think he took some notes and learned from Jerry to.
Or learned from Tex.
Kind of from Tex, and I mean Tex would go out every night almost.
And Mickey was right there alongside him.
There was a well, I was only here during his time for 1 week of training camp each year, and then took over when Jerry took over. But yeah, he would. There was a place outside of Thousand Oaks on the other side of the 101. It was in Westlake, and it was called the Iron Horse, and that was kind of the meeting place after everything was said and done at night. Got your work done, and you could about find Tex there most nights. Holding court, debating with the media. It was great. It was the great theory sessions we used to have with him.
And then what I also remember in Thousand Oaks is that Tex would be up on the tower, and the difference between Tex being up on the tower and Jerry being in the owner's tower here is Lee Martin Productions would also be there. There were times
blue-white scrimmage.
Not just the blue-white scrimmage, but there was one year that Lee Martin and they did daily television reports.
That might have been before my time.
That was it was on what was then Okay, Fox Sports Southwest is now Bally Sports Southwest. Prior to that, it was Home Sports Entertainment. Prior to that, it was like Prime something, and it was back in the early days. All right, bring us up to speed on this team. This is a rejuvenation day. It's not an off day for the players. In fact, as I walked in, the injured crew was out there and suited up
doing rehab
and doing stuff. Yeah,
and they had their what they call mock game. Mike calls it mock game. It's basically the walkthrough. So they did have a walkthrough this morning for about an hour and a half, I guess. And then they're going to have meetings. And as you said, probably going to have to cut this short. We had it planned. They were supposed to do the press conference 12:15, 12:30, but it sounds like it's going to be closer to 12 o'clock.
Maybe 2 o'clock Dallas time.
And then Dak's supposed to also speak from the podium today. So, it's not a day off. They just don't have the full padded practice the way they have in the past 2 days.
All right, this is our first chance to get your thoughts after watching the team in the pads this last couple of days. Of course, they've had 3 straight days of practice. It's the last 2 in pads. Last time we did one of these Mick Shots was on Monday. So what's your overriding impression, what you've seen right now?
How competitive everything seems to be. I think there's a lot of competition going on between the two units, offense and defense. Got pretty heated there for a while. I thought that defensively, we've talked about all the open competition and all the different spots, and I think that's going on. And then offensively, now with Dak out, for what they said a few days. Mike McCarthy said a few days, and his definition of a few days is 2 to 3 days, but it could be longer than that.
Well, and that's the thing, and he's out there on the practice field.
Right.
He's just not throwing with his right arm anyway.
Yeah.
Occasionally you will see his left arm in
yes.
use. But if you look at the schedule ahead, all right, you got 2 practices Saturday and Sunday, a day off on Monday, a practice on Tuesday, which is their only practice next week leading up to Canton. Traveling on Wednesday, and then they're back here the following Saturday when the Rams will be here to practice with them. And in my opinion, there's no reason here over the next 3 practices to even test it at all. It buys you basically a week, and then we'll see where he is when the Rams come here next week.
And I can't remember if there's a practice on Sunday after the Rams or if there's another day off, and then they have a couple practices.
There is.
Yeah. I would think after the Rams. I think that's probably as long as everything clears up. So it's a muscle strain in your upper arm here, shoulder. And, he's able to run, so it can't be too painful. Otherwise, you wouldn't be jogging and running around, running routes for the quarterbacks when they're doing their individual drills and throwing the ball underhand with his left arm. I thought that was encouraging. And then he did conditioning work, too. So he was on the cords. So
we had our photographer, CBS 11, Bill Ellis, was positioned in such a way that on one of Dak's runs to the end zone, you could hear him say that you're going to see a lot of this scrambling today. That was early in practice yesterday.
And he was able to, take snaps and, hand off and do stuff like that. So it can't be that painful. So, he termed it, Bill, as it was tight. So I don't know, what his definition of tight is, but I think
the MRI termed it as a
strained muscle. And he said it happened. It started showing up on Tuesday, and then Wednesday he decided, okay, probably need to shut it down and be careful. So,
and to what Mike McCarthy said in the press conference yesterday, I guess it was yesterday. A lot of times you'll see quarterbacks a weekend, 5 practices in where they might have some arm fatigue, whatever. This sounds like because there was an MRI that shows a strain would be a small tear in the muscle, that it may be a little bit more than that. But the thing is,
that's the most work he's had since the injury, right?
And it's like a baseball pitcher where you'll go a few days into it, and they just set it back for a couple of days and then go back at it. And so there's no cause for alarm right now, and it's early enough. It's still July to proceed with caution. And in the meantime, Mickey, you get a good look at the situation behind Dak at quarterback.
Yeah, you get an opportunity. And the other thing I was going to point out before I get to the backups taking over, it's 5 weeks before they have to get into game week for the season opener. So there's
now just under
time.
6 weeks before the season opener against Tampa Bay.
So
and we're less than a week away from the first preseason game next Thursday in Canton.
That's right. Are you going to be in Canton?
I will not be in Canton.
Yeah,
nope.
Well, maybe we're up in the air right now. We don't know if we're making the trip or not. But yeah, it gave they were rotating snaps with the quarterbacks, and it was hard to say, well, Garrett Gilbert's number 2, DiNucci's 3, Rush is 4, or whatever. And then yesterday, basically, Garrett Gilbert's number 2. I think Mike McCarthy said it, and then the way they practiced, he took all Dak's snaps. So he was the first one up, and then DiNucci and Rush kind of traded going next. So yeah, it gives. I mean, think about it. When Gilbert got here last year, Bill, he was here 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden he gets thrust into a starting job, and he had never started a game in the NFL. I think he only had thrown a handful of passes over the years he had been in the NFL on the practice squad, or buried as the third quarterback or the second that didn't get to play. So his ability to get time in practice with the first team is invaluable at this point, if indeed he wins the backup job.
So, is the backup quarterback on this roster?
I would not bet your money on it because I think that while they're competing against each other, they're also competing against what might show up on the waiver wire.
And I think that's probably been the master plan all along. Now, if someone emerges and they look like that they can be the guy.
And they can save money.
Right. Then great.
Yeah, that would be great. But at some point, the end of August, I guarantee you some team releases a quarterback that has more experience.
And probably has a
connection
to one of these coaches, one of these numerous coaches on this staff.
Because, they talk about Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy taking care of the quarterbacks. Well, you have Doug Nussmeier, who's been around, and even Scott Tolzien, who's kind of the assistant. How do you put it? He's the helper guy at the quarterback room, and he's been around too. So they've got a lot of quarterbacks here to kind of help out. I think with all the new quarterbacks that got drafted in the first round, I would imagine there's going to be some veteran quarterback that's let go, and will have more starting experience than all three of these guys combined.
As much as people liked the little bit that they saw from Garrett Gilbert against the Steelers last year, as far as taking care of the ball and putting the Cowboys in a position to win a game against what was then an unbeaten team last year, the fact of the matter is he does not have much experience, even at the age of 30, to be counted on that this is a guy that can win multiple games for you in a regular season.
And as we know, backup quarterbacks have to rely on their experience because they don't get, once the season starts, they don't get many snaps. So the fact that Gilbert's going to get these snaps in preseason, he's going to get snaps in practice, which he didn't have any of that last year. He just kind of showed up, and it was, he was baptized right away. Just go in and play. So, that'll help out. And it'll help DiNucci out, too, because he didn't get any of that, and he was a seventh-round pick. And as a rookie, you need reps in the offseason, and he didn't get any.
Hey, can I give a shout-out to loyal listeners of all the podcasts here on DallasCowboys.com.
Okay.
These are two guys I met in the hotel lobby on my way over here. They're from Dallas. They've been here since Tuesday at practice, their first time at training camp, and they're headed back today. Mike Garner and Mark Dunn. Mike Garner, the pride of Dallas Carter High School, and Mark Dunn out of Dallas Pinkston High School from way back in the day, and so a shout out to them.
I heard
great Cowboys fans.
I saw where your reporting skills came in to play yesterday. You found the Ralstons.
I did, yes. That's right. Well, it wasn't that hard because there was a lady with a Ralston jersey on.
And you figured.
Yeah. And what Mickey is getting at, this is a player that is not getting any attention at camp. Nick Ralston out of Argyle High School, and he went to Arizona State and then transferred to Louisiana Lafayette, and he's a fullback on the roster, number 46. And so I saw Mom with the 46 jersey and what I presume was Dad. Turned out it was. And so I said, okay, we're doing an interview right here. And now I got to go track down Nick to do an interview with him.
And there was also Brad Sham ran into Kevin Sweeney.
Oh, really?
Yeah, remember?
Wow. Oh, yeah.
The strike team quarterback,
yeah.
and then they kept him, got a start, and kind of didn't do all that well. But Brad,
highly prolific college quarterback, Fresno State?
Yeah, I think it was. And Tex Schramm was just enamored with him, right? And to the point where he got Landry to start him in a game, right? In a real game, not the
so Kevin Sweeney was out here.
Yeah, he was out here yesterday, too. Yeah, and then Michael Irvin showed up at the party last night.
I heard that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that raised the level of excitement at the party, just having Michael there. So, but you know what? Mike did talk about the fullback position yesterday when he was talking about
praise for Shewo Alanalua.
Shewo, is that how you say it?
Shewo Alanalua out of TCU. That's right.
And he was the one that said, teams are kind of going more back to two running back sets. And he said not only can, we benefit from that if indeed he's good enough to make the team, but it also gives the defense a chance to go up against two running back sets.
We may be close to a press conference. Mike McCarthy press conference tendentatively set for high noon California time, 2 o'clock Dallas time.
I see the tendonitis in the elbow didn't stop Tyron Smith from walking around.
Yeah.
But somebody asked me about it, and I said, well, yeah, he's got that knee brace on his arm that he's had for the last couple of years.
The knee brace fits snugly on his arm.
Golly, that's just amazing, the thing he has. But anyway, back to the fullback thing. Who knows? And I saw somebody interpret that as, they're going to run Pollard and Zeke at the same time. He was talking about a fullback when he mentioned that.
You know what this means?
That means
we're wrapping it up. We're getting the hard wrap. We got a Mike McCarthy press conference coming up next here on DallasCowboys.com.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!